Thank you very much, members of the media houses. We in the SPLM National Secretariat this afternoon, we want to put it crystal clear that we have got this morning a media message circulating that the chairman of the SPLM, His Excellency Comrade Salva Kiir Mayardit, they have struck a deal with the first Vice President, Dr. Riek Machar, to postpone the election. And this is the rumor circulating the social media this morning, and this is confusing the public. The SPLM, we are here to categorically denounce that rumor, to say His Excellency Comrade Salva Kiir Mayardit has not discussed any or struck any deal with the first Vice President regarding the postponement of the elections. The election will be in December 2024 without fail, and that is the date which has been scheduled for this election. And the SPLM, we are members to the peace agreement, and with our partners together, if there is anything to do with the passing information about the election, it will be done jointly with all the peace partners. It will not be done single-handedly, or it will not be done behind the doors. Therefore, we are here to denounce this propaganda, and we are saying it is null and void because it's not legitimate. We have also read the same paper. The person who wrote this, we don't know the person, and we don't want the public to be misled by certain informations. We are putting it clear that we are implementing peace in a spirit that is not going to jeopardize what is put in the peace agreement. Therefore, we can never stop going for election in December. Going for election in December will be one of the violations that we can do, because the peace agreement is clear that at the end of the transitional period, we must go for elections. And these elections are scheduled for December 2024. And by now, you've seen everything to do for election is done. You can see already the Electoral Commission is already constituted. You have also seen that the Political Parties Council has also been constituted. You have also been that we have also unified the army. You have seen we have graduated them and we have started deployment of them. So what's remaining now? There is nothing. We are going for election, and nobody should continue to confuse the public. Election is a popular demand of the South Sudanese people because they need to elect their leaders, and that's what they need. And anybody who talks about election, this is exactly what we, the SPLM, as a partner to the peace agreement, is also talking about, that we must go for election. And this is what is clearly put in the RXS, so that we are committed for this election in 2024, December this year. Thank you very much.
Any question?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you very much. My name is David Esbon, and I work for Classic. We all know that the parties have not agreed on whether to conduct the elections or not. There are other parties that are saying there are particular things that are not done before the election is conducted. And we know that there is supposed to be dialogue, which the President mentioned during the opening of the Parliament. Can you update us on this? How is the dialogue going? Or dismissing this rumor, does it send the message that the dialogue has come up open, that the election is going to be there? Thank you.
The issue of election is very clear, that at the end of the transitional period, we need to have election conducted so that the South Sudanese people can elect their leaders to office. And of course, you know, we are talking about the second transition. We already had the transition before, where we were supposed to have election. We extended it. At this time now, we are coming to the end of the transitional period. And it is said clear that before the end of the transitional period, we need to have election conducted. Therefore, some of the partners to the agreement, they have already agreed on the issue of going forward for election. Apart from one, of course, the dialogue which was mentioned by His Excellency the President is there, but I cannot be able right now to talk about it because we already have people or the committee, high-level committee, which is headed by Honorable Tutkil, who is in charge of that, and they will be in a position to officially say more about the dialogue. But as a partner to the peace, we are here only to make sure that we give clarity about what's going on, and the people should not come and...
Those who say South Sudan is not ready for elections, I don't know what is the criteria which you are using. What is their mechanism for evaluating as to whether people are ready for elections or not? For us, we say we are ready for elections, and the elections will be run. There are those who believe that we are not going for elections unless all the provisions of the agreement are implemented. That is rubbish. Even the provisions of the CPA up to now are not all implemented. CPA Al Jablena Independence Day, some provisions are still outstanding. Some of them like what? Like the Border Commission. Like the 3 areas. Like the Jibala Nuba and Angasana Blue Nile. This is part of the CPA. The unified forces, when they were set up to the time of independence and we became independent, they were never unified. So there are some provisions of the agreements which are not usually necessary, and they cannot be a condition for doing anything. This is why we conducted the elections, Yumdak, and this is why we conducted the referendum, despite the fact that some provisions of the agreement were not. If we were to be intransigent, we would say, Wallahi, mab namul intikhabat, mab namul referendum, unless the issue of borders is determined. Up to now, it is not determined. Should we have waited for it? There are people who say we will not go for elections unless the population census is conducted. For what? For you to conduct a population census, you need 2 years. We are not ready to go beyond. There are people who say unless the displaced people and the refugees are repatriated. Repatriation is a voluntary work. It's a voluntary thing. It is not compulsory. The government cannot go and tell the refugees in all the refugees camps, "Hoy, come here, go home." That is not the case. It is the refugee who would say, "I want to be repatriated." Then we will repatriate him. Even the displaced here in this camp, here in Juba, we cannot force them to go home if they don't want. So that condition is not in place. Those who are in the field now, Al-Karajumba, Sayad, will be deployed now. Tayin Jabo will be deployed with their sticks. We will deploy them. But then we will see what they will do on the ground. Right. The second phase will be coming in. And second phase, it is conditional. For you to go to the Maidan, you must produce your rifle. To convince us that you were competent. Once you produce your rifle, it is put in the store, then you go for training. When you graduate from there, you take your rifle and you are graduated with it. Because we have the arms embargo. And arms embargo is another way of obstructing the implementation of the agreement. It is obstruction because we will not be allowed. They know we don't manufacture arms, we don't manufacture even ammunitions and everything. So once you are stopped from getting all this, then you take it your own way. This is the situation in which we are. So we are moving and we are going for elections. those who are saying internationally that we are not prepared for elections, these are the doubting Thomases. And we'll prove to them that you don't need to doubt us. Yes. All those who are doubting and saying that the government of South Sudan is not ready for elections, these are people who are fearing from going for elections. But for us, as a government, and as SPLM in particular, we are going for elections. Anybody who doesn't want to go is up to him or her. Of course, going to contest elections or going to vote is not compulsory. It is a right given to you by the Constitution, but it is up to you whether to exercise that right or not. So we are going for elections, and anybody who doesn't want to go for elections is up to him or her. But we are going for elections. So my message to those who are saying that we are not ready for elections, I'm telling them that we are ready for elections and we are going for elections. The unified forces, the current ones which are in the Medan, they will have to be graduated. They have already graduated, they will now be deployed. One of the major problems is that the IO up to this moment has not presented the list of their officers to the president for commissioning. So at the end of the day, they may be deployed without command. And that will be another step also. Graduated them with the sticks, we will also deploy them without command. Otherwise, the forces are ready and they will be deployed now. Those who are going to the training centers will be going, and they will be graduated before the end of this year. Or up to the end of this year, they will be graduated. Because after all, what is that which will delay them again? Nothing. If they don't want to graduate, that is up to them. But we will graduate them and deploy them.
I need to respond to the queries or questions being asked. In fact, the question which has been asked is only one. Out of the three is only one question. And that is, what happens in case you don't succeed to implement the agreement in time? Will you extend it again, or what will you do? That is the whole thing. Let me assure you that this time we are implementing and we are going for elections in time. There is no question of a revitalized roadmap, as some of you have been putting it. There is nothing like that. So if you are ready for elections, be ready.
2024, 2024, Salva Kiir Mayadi, 2024, Salva Kiir Mayadi, 2024,
SPLM Moye. We are in a political season. Then non-machine election is real. Leadership Batan, comme the chairman, President Kiir, is committed. Dolada, Machi election 2024. Yes, finance matter in election. The parties matter in election, especially IO. Belede, Yakumu be ittifaqiyat hata mitin. Belede, yakun fi transition hata mitin. Belede, Yakumu general besila hata mitin. You defect today, you go to the bush, you come back a full general from nowhere. Hata mitin. But we are pleading with them, all of us, let us go for election. Asharnaz Batana, Egypt leaders Batana. And Beji Bistakal, Lesala Batana. Power to the people, not from the gun, not from rebellion, not from agreements. Ukuluna Binatefeku, let us go for election. Other parties Kulu agreed in another machine election. Extension Tani, Yawa Amalu Inta, Amalu roadmap Inta. Let us go for election.
Security sector institutions that is under the NTC that is the Joint Defense Board, the Joint Military Ceasefire Commission, the Joint Technical Security Committee, the National Election Commission under the Ministry of Interior, and the Strategic Defense and Security Review Board. These institutions made their assessment of the implementation process, but also the Constitutional Review Commission, the National Election Commission, the Political Party Council, and the National Bureau of Statistics also made their reports. And from all these reports, they made recommendations. 2 or 3 issues were recommended. 1, they did not complete all the tasks that are critical for the conduct of elections in December 2024. 2, they needed us to approve extension to postpone elections and to extend the transition period as a result of postponement. We submitted this report to the presidency, and the presidency have endorsed that elections be postponed or delayed according to the recommendations of the security sector institutions and the elections-related institutions. So that's done. So the question of suspending government or by the 22nd of September 2024 does not arise anymore. Its government function as usual, and these institutions will continue to implement their provisions. 2, as a result of this endorsement of postponement, we have agreed to reset the transitional period to begin from February 2025 to 2026, with the elections being conducted in 22nd of December 2026. So that now the first few months remaining under the current transitional period is used to mobilize funds that we can now be sure that we will implement the agreement according to the new timetable. This is done for the benefit of this country, to recognize the achievements of the R-axis and to make sure that the peace that we have achieved as a result of the R-axis is maintained and sustained for the welfare of the people of South Sudan, so that by the time the people go for election, we are sure that we now only have a national security sector, all the parties are registered, and all the institutions are functioning, and we're going to elections in a situation where the environment is conducive for free, fair, credible, and democratic elections.